just off the face of the bat, I think. Short ball. Mark Boucher's taken the catch. Makhaya Ntini is on fire this morning.
Oh my word, what a delivery. And Ntini's convinced he's gone.
That's it. That is the way to set up a tail-ender. A 5-wicket haul from Ntini.
Good catch. Yeah, good bowling, good catch. But Ntini has 10.
Makhaya, it's 1977. You're born in this village, Madingi, near King Williamstown. You go to school, you're age 6. Tell me a day in your life, age 7, from the moment you woke up.
Wow, Doc, it's gonna be, it could be a long story the whole day. The only thing that I remember, and then I know, you know, the truth of it, it's at the age of 7 or 6, you have two things that you know. You look after your father's cattle, you know, you milk the cow, you go and follow your mother or your brother to go and fetch water. You know, those are the first steps as a kid that you need to understand before even you go to school.
That's where we used to farm. You see, this is quite a nice thing. It's very close to at home as well, so you can see all the cows when they're going in, you can come and chase them away. But now you see, there's no rain, there's nothing, so we can't plow anymore now. As the cows, is always a flat fence there. You see the cows on the top there. That's where we used to go every time. You see, when I was young as well, go there to collect the cows and come back, we'd bring them and put them on a crawl there. This is my mother's house, and then that's where we grew up. I bought the TV for them, and then while I'm playing away, and then they can watch me every time because I don't have much time to come and see them at home, and then I don't have much time to take them to watch me live when we're playing in South Africa. And then this one is a certificate. I get it from Dal College. This one, it's one of my school, favorite school. And then this is me after 1994 under 19s after we came back from England. This is she's my friend, and then she's my sister as well then. And then it's one of the early age, you see, under 19s to Durban Coca-Cola week, and then in England, this one, where we arrive in England, and then we had a warm-up games. And this is the one that my debut against England as well for SuperSport in Border Cricket Ground. This is my dad. And then he was playing for first run to Cape Town when he was a youngster as well. But you see now here, this is why he was keeping himself looking beautiful on the photo there. He was quite a good man, and then he was looking after us very well.
Growing up in a village like this, and then it was one of those things that you don't see town. Town was a privilege to go to. You know, you go and fetch water, look after the kettles, and then from there you go to school.
This is my school. This is the school that I was studying it for my standard 6, 7, and 8 before I went to Dal. See, there's all the students here now are writing exams. You see, as you see, not everyone is shy. They're all happy, as you see. You see, when we're sitting on this desk, you see the teacher is, you see, like now you're really looking like about the break time, you see, and then say you're busy looking at the time, maybe now and again, so okay, now is the time is gonna be break now. Or you can do, you're busy looking at the windows, you see everyone, see the dogs fighting each other outside there.
You see your goats going to that area of trying to destroy somebody else's farm. You leave the books at school, you run. You get out of the door, and then the teacher asking, where are you going? You see the goats on the other side. Everyone look at the window and seeing you running there, because you know that if those goats go and destroy somebody else's farm, you're going to be punished just for that. So it was one of those things that they were great for us. There was no one who questioned you if you leave the class and go and try to avoid, you know, what the mess the goats will do. You know, this was one of the, you know, the growing up, you know, moments and the history of it. You know, it was lovely.
Makhaya, am I right? It's 1992. This is the first time ever that you bowled a ball of cricket.
Yes, Doc. This is where the history started. And I remember Raymond, you know, when he came down here with a lot of cars, and then it was an amazing for us to see a lot of cars in the same village at the same time. And then we were standing right behind us in that little house there, and then we were watching all of these kids that are here. And then he sent someone to us and called us in and says, come and join us. And then he gave me a cricket ball, myself and my friend, and then he says, try and do like the others, how they do.
And that's in 1992?
Yes, the 1992. This is where
it all started.
Our first time, holding a cricket ball.
Raymond, it's 1992. You're the development coach for border cricket. You're into rural villages. You come here in Dingy, and for the first time you see a young bowler, barefoot,
yes,
bowling here.
Yeah.
What happened?
Ali, it was 1992, as you said, and it was during the holidays, where normally I go to all the villages, all the townships and rural areas, and have some clinics, coach cricket, and unearth the talent. So what happened is that these boys were like standing around, and they came to me. I called them. I said, guys, let's have a good show here. And then the guys came in. They bowled at me, and like you can't believe. And then there was this young boy, barefoot, and in these dusty areas of Mdingi, and he ran in and he bowled quick, Ali. And then I got this one, saw this one, and I said, oh, this is unbelievable. This is gold. And what happened is that I said, no, come here. What's your name? And he said, it's Makhaya. I said, man, where have you been? Because I've been here at Mdingi, I've been to the school, checking all the mini cricket and everything. I've never seen a guy like you. And then I said to him, one day, Makhaya, you'll make South Africa.
Really?
And he just looked at me and laughed. I mean, smile, that lovely smile of his. And then since then, I had to make sure that I'm having special coaching sessions for him. And I used to take him to to Victoria Grounds and King every Fridays, just to have a special sessions with him. And at that stage, Ali, barefoot, he never had shoes, he never had anything. At one stage, I just took my shoes, because I used to come with my old techies. I took my old techies, and I said, Makhaya, just bowl with these. And he was bowling with them nicely. I mean, he had that feel of having shoes. Then after that, we had like a great trials, whereby we have to pick a border side, which we were having a regional session at Queenstown. So a regional tournament in Queenstown. At that stage, it was PG Wood, and then he made the side as an opening bowler. And then from there, Ali, he went to, he walked from this village, because we were going to pick him up on the other side, King Lamstown. He walked from this village, and he met us at on the other side at Kozini location. We pick him up there. He went to Queenstown.
Greg, tell me when the first time you saw Makhaya, and what were your impressions?
Well, Ali, the first time I saw Makhaya was at trials at Dale College. We had a PG Wood camp on that weekend, and we had to select 24 cricketers, and a number of guys from the rural area came to that trial, and it was there that I saw Makhaya bowl for the first time. He bowled all over the show, but he hit the back of the net a lot harder than anyone else did. He was then selected into the 24 that went up to Queenstown for the camp. And it was at the net session in the morning that Peter Haxton came to me, who was an ex-coach of mine who played for Border. And he said to me, have you seen the guy in the far net there? He said, this guy, he's bowling, he's got a lot of potential. And well, of course we knew who he was. And he said, you'd better sort his foot gear out as well, because his tacky was flapping all over the show. So I took him down to the local sports shop there. We got a pair of Patrick boots, bowling boots for him. And then Makhaya put these on, and he, at lunchtime at Bissett Hall on a wooden floor, I suddenly heard this guy walking in with his boots, and I had to say to Makhaya, listen, Macca, these things here, you only wear on the cricket field. You can't hlanganisa and gomos and, collect cattle and things. It's only for when you're playing cricket, so you better take those things off. And of course, well, from there, Makhaya was selected for the Border side, and we played against England. The England touring side were out here, the under-15s. And Gordon Lord, who was the coach at the time, said to me, this guy, yeah, he's something special. The opening batsmen all said that he'd been the quickest that they'd faced. And he just kept coming at you all the time, even when it was, a second spell. We then decided that there was no doubt that he had to go to Dale College. So I set up an appointment with Malcolm Andrew, who was the headmaster. And we collected Makhaya, Raymond and I. We took him to Dale. We had a little interview, but the interview was cut short because Makhaya couldn't speak a word of English. So Mr. Andrew very kindly asked Makhaya to wait in the corridor, and then said, "Greg, what you asked me to do is an impossibility. I cannot take a guy into a school like this and ask a teacher to teach him when he cannot speak a word of English." And our response to that was, he's a damn good cricketer and he could become a really seriously good cricketer, and your school will really get all the credit for this. Just take him in for a while. Malcolm Andrew agreed to that, but said that he would have to monitor the situation. Well, I think it was a couple of Saturdays later where he had frightened the living hell out of some of the opening batsmen, and well, the rest is history. He stayed at Dale, and and has been a wonderful, successful story. He's motivated so many young cricketers. We've had a battery of fast bowlers that are coming out. If you just look around now, we've got a lot of guys that have come through with the help of Makhaya.
It's the 1992 Cricket World Cup. I go with the late Steve Schwetty to Australia. We meet Alan Davidson, a very famous all-rounder for Australian cricket.
Richardson faces Davidson. There's an edge, a catch behind, and the Worcestershire batsman is on his way back. Benno certainly didn't have defence in mind with such a field, nor did Alan Davidson, who had once again broken through England's openers and is now about to send down the fifth ball of a memorable over. The pressure was right on, and the man who'll feel its weight is the doomed Watson. That's how the camera saw that fifth ball from Davidson, a fast Yorker. Watson was gone and the score hadn't budged. Natural jubilation here. The two men were out for only 7.
He hears about our development program. He says to Steve and myself, in a 93, bring 4 youngsters, I'll look after them. You're one of them.
Leaving the rural area, Doc, where the first thing you're worried about yourself, first time into the aeroplane, first time leaving the village and then getting into the city. I remember Raymond came to fetch me. When we got into town, in his car, he get out of the car and says to me, "Don't get out of the car."
Why?
I don't know if he was worried about me, because if I get out of the car, I'll get lost. He closed all the windows. He says, "Don't open the door." It's so hot. He came back, I was wet. It's almost like the water was poured on top of me. And then he comes around and says, "Why didn't you open the window?" And then I said to him, "You say don't open the window, don't get out of the car." Going to the airport, I get to the airport. The big story about it, when you leave the village, everybody at home, you get your own cooked meal. They slaughter a chicken. And then ours, those one that we call tumleqwa in our rural areas. So he had the bones. And then I get to the airport, when when you put your bags, and then before you get on the other side for the check-in. And then my bag went in, and then he came back, and then he had that tit, 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 tit in the machine. And then they say, no, there's something in your bag. I opened my bag, and then I said, what else is in here? I said, no, in that, takeaway bag of yours, there's bones. Because the chicken. And they said, no, that's a weapon. You can kill someone with that thing after you're finishing eating it. So I had to leave my the whole, scuffing of mine with the full chicken that was cooked for me, just me alone. Getting to Joburg, and then we meet up you there on our way, and then you take us through to the terminals. Getting to Australia. One thing that you must know, I have no English, but I had Davidson, Abraham and Donald, that they were part of me, the 3 of them, being 4 of us. Getting to Australia, I remember, Doc, when Mr. Davidson, we met him, and then the only thing I used to know was yes or no. If it doesn't matter what he says, I will say yes if he's right, and then I'll say no. I won't even know if I'm saying no to the right one or yes to the wrong one. So we had an absolutely great time in Australia. Mr. Davison, he took care of us. You know, he made us his own children. He took us everywhere. I remember the day that the one night he took us for the dinner. And then as a rural boy, I didn't even know what to choose because I cannot even, know what is written on the menu. They said, no, don't worry, we'll make a special meal for you. And then everyone gathered eating their meals that they're waiting for me. They bring up this massive tray, and then they put it in front of me. And then as they opening, I see this thing with the big horns. It was, they call it a lobster. Is that a lobster, most dog? Yes, I jumped. I ran away, and then they said, no, come back. And then I was just pointing, whatever that is there, it's not for me. I cannot eat that. It was a great fun. Cricket-wise, I enjoyed every single moment. The one thing that I remember, when he has to speak to me, he had to do in action. In everything that he wants me to do, he has to start up with action in front of me, and then I'll follow that. So those are the things that I remember about him. And then I remember just before I started playing for South Africa, and then he knew that I was part of that touring team to England. He came down, and then when he saw me, he started crying. And then he says, I remember you clearly. And then I knew that you will be one of the best cricketers, of all time. And then it was one of those moments when you're seeing someone the first time, or I would say the second time, but the first time that you were with him, you couldn't speak the word of English. Now you can be able to relate and communicate with him. He was unbelievable, seeing him again.
Makhaya, it's 1994, you're now at Dale College. You meet up with Mark Wainwright. Very influential on your future career. Why?
I think what makes life easier for me with Mark, because he could speak the language. So whatever that he needed to do, or he wanted me to do it during the game of cricket, he will come and speak to me in Xhosa, and then we will understand each other. So I would do exactly how he wanted me to do it. And then he was my captain at that time. So we had that friendship, between the two of us, that nobody can break it. So my cricket at Dale, it was one of those things that, for me, it was every single thing that he was saying to me, it was a learning curve. I will take the word of English that he was passed on and keep it, and then he will translate that in my language so that I can understand exactly what he's trying to say. So I grew up with him. It became a mentor, because I had no one to talk to on the cricket field, but he was the only one, because he can speak the language.
1995, you're now with Dale College, the first team. You're back to Australia. You're batting number 6. You scored a century.
Yes.
Hold on. I've looked up in the record books. You had 190 first-class innings.
Yes.
But your average was 9.44.
Because I bet at the bottom. It was when you look at that, and then you find yourself and says, my average is 9, but I had 100.
Lovely shot. Going, gone.
So what was the problem?
I have no idea. When it's one of it actually happens even now. When you get to the school, they ask you what's your specialty, and they say I'm a bowler. So if you're a bowler, you have to bat at either 10 and 11. So that was one of the things that it made the whole cricket thing, in a way of we look at us as an all-rounders, because we know that we can hit the ball as far as anyone else. And then we go to Australia, we were in trouble. I walked in, I scored 100. And I was batting number 6. I come back to school, and then you go back to number 9 and 10 after you scored 100. So you find, and that's a strange part, because they don't see the potential that you have, that you can bet, number 6 all the time. So they drift you all the way down.
It's 1996. You're now playing for the Border provincial team. You live in Gunubing, 32 kilometres away from Buffalo Park Nets. You don't catch a bus or taxi, you cycle there and back.
Look, I believe, when I started my cricket career, and then I got to the groove of understanding my body. And then when I had a bike, and then I thought it could be one of those things that would keep me going, regarding of the freshness of the legs, and then being able to bowl another 35 overs, in the next day. So I used the bicycle. So coming home, riding to the ground, my legs are ready. So when I get here to the warm-up, I'm ready to go, even if we had a long day a day before. So that's why I use my bicycle.
97-8, you selected for the first time for South Africa against Sri Lanka.
That's out. He's got him. That's the first wicket. Yes, he's gone. Well, great wicket for Makhaya Ntini. Terrific comeback. Boucher the catcher. Aravinda departs. And 165 for 3 now, Sri Lanka. Great performance, Makhaya Ntini.
Wonderful cricket. Actually gives me goosebumps. And who's happier? Nobody happier than the good doctor himself.
Makhaya, your first ODI match for South Africa in Perth, 1998.
Doc, it's almost like it was yesterday. I remember my window was facing the ground. Every time I open my curtain in the morning, what I see the ground. And then the worst part about it, we're playing a day-night game. Being told that I'm playing a night before. Now, I had those goosebumps. I can't sleep. And then I wake up early morning, open my curtain. All I see was the stadium that I'll be playing. In that night, Doug, if I can tell you the story, I actually slept with my playing kit. That's how excited I was. And then Roger Telemakas was my roomie. And then he asked me, do you know that you slept with that kid? I says, when you're fitting in which kid you're gonna use? And then I'm lying there watching TV. And then all of a sudden, I fall asleep. And then I remember we were fielding. And then Pat Simcox was bowling. The ball was hit past me, and then he went straight through my legs.
And Ntini, playing in his first match for South Africa, has just made his first mistake.
And then John D. Rhodes says to me, welcome to the game of men. And then I was shaking because Polo was opening, and then there was, Donald was not playing in that game. And I was given the opportunity to come and bowl. And then I pick up my first wicket was Stephen Fleming, and was caught behind by Mark Boucher.
Oh, that's out, caught behind, well bowled, that's his first. Very well done, young man. Makhaya Ntini has struck. He's got his first wicket in the big time, and boy, he's perhaps been dreaming about this. This is a big moment for him. His captain's there, giving him a good pat on the back, and there they come, all the South Africans around this youngster who's got his go today.
He will never forget this moment. It's been a pleasure to watch it. He's in his 4th over. There's his first international wicket. He should be very proud. His teammates are.
That on its own, it broke the ice. I started to enjoy my cricket in that particular day. And then I picked up 3. It was another achievement from the beginning.
98. The last test match, 5th test match against England at Leeds. It's all square. I'm there. You get 4 wickets in the first innings. We lose the game by 23 runs and the rubber. The umpire is Javed Akhtar. He gives, in the first innings, 3 of our chaps out LBW.
I remember that.
And 5 in the second innings, 8.
I remember that.
Well, as I said, I think they would be quite happy to bowl to Liebenberg, but I don't think Liebenberg would be quite happy with this decision by umpire Javed Akhtar. There is a chance that he got a bit of an inside edge onto the pad, as Mike Atherton did, and he definitely has hit it.
Poor old Javed Akhtar has had a wretched match. This is Alan Donald giving out LBW to Fraser in the South African first innings. Huge inside edge onto his front knee.
Another big appeal, he's gone this time. South Africa 5 down, Goff has struck again. Cullinan goes for naught.
Well, if the first one wasn't out, I don't see how this one is out. This would have missed by even further. You can see mid-stump, you can see off-stump. The ball has done a lot. But Mr. Javed Akhtar likes that right index finger being pointed to the sky.
Today, that match is still controversial. What were your thoughts about that?
I think, you know, that was the beginning of the whole corruption things. You know, I think from our point of view, it started, you know, from the Standing Empire's point of view, where, you know, the game was almost going towards us. We were almost winning the game, and then we get judged. And then I was one of those ones that were judged because I was betting the last.
He's given him out. England have won. They've beaten South Africa by 23 runs to take out this test match and the series. Another very questionable LBW decision.
You see it being given an LBW where the ball was going down left. So we lost the game, and then we all look at ourselves and then we try to figure out how do we lose the game. And then we went straight to the LBWs because everyone wants to analyze the game, how we lose the game by 20 some odd runs. So that's at the end of that. And then I don't know, it was a year later, that's when the whole things of match fixing started. And then we all say, remember the game that we lost by 23 runs and then the umpire gave us 8, you know, wrong decisions against us, you know. So that's when, you know, we started realizing that there's so much that is happening in sport.
1999, a very difficult year for you. The Grahamstown High Court, led by 2 presiding judges, Judge John Whitehead and Judge Chris Janssen, overturned a rape conviction meted out to you by a regional court in East London in April of 1992. At any stage, did you think this could be the end of your cricket career?
Not at all, Doc, because I believe in myself that there's nothing I've done wrong. And then I know that the law will take its own course. I've never been in a position of doubting of anything. So when we get to the High Court and then I was proven the way I believed in, straight away I went back home, I put my running shoes again and I started training, preparing for the upcoming season.
You had a fantastic test career. You played in 101 tests, 390 wickets.
Yes.
Let's go through some of your great achievements. 2003 Lord's Test match. You're the only South African to get 10 wickets
at Lord's. Yep. Go back, Doc. I remember when you were myself and Monando Haywood, we were just being selected to be part of the system. And then the first thing that actually gave me the hype is when we walked in at Lord's changing rooms, and then you could see the names of the people that they've achieved. You know, when it comes to the one that they scored 100, the rest of they've taken 5-ers and the others are taking 10-ers. And then I looked on the other side, which is the 10-er side, and then I see Marco Marshall being the last person in that list. And then I said, if I get a chance to come back and play here, I want to be on this list because my hero is here. And then that happened, and then we walked in the changing room again, and then Corey Fanzel and Graham Ford were the coaches of that day. He came and sit next to me and says, you remember 4 years ago we all standing here. And then you say, if you get an opportunity to come back and play here, you want to leave your name in this part of the list. And then I said, yes. And then he says, here we go. Now you're in the team.
Caught, just lobbed to Paul Adams just behind square. He usually plays that shot very well, Alex Stewart. Not on this occasion.
Well, Flintoff's gone after that, and he too goes. This really is becoming a shocking batting performance by England.
That's it. That is the way to set up a tail-ender. And that's how it works. It's a 5-wicket haul for Ntini.
We bowled England cheaply, and then we score, I think, about 600 runs. Corey Fanzel comes to me and sits next to me and says, do you remember what you said? And then I said, yes. And then he says, now you've got a chance, because we lost one bowler, Devil Pretorius, got injured. So now we are short when it comes to the bowlers. I said, my target is huge than you are thinking of. I need to be in that list. Yes, I am ready to bowl.
Good catch. Yeah, good bowling, good catch. And Ntini has 10. Great performance.
He will be all over those honours boards. Makhaya Ntini.
And then it was one of those emotions, Doc, that you cannot believe it. For me to go there again, and after I waited for that long, you know, kneeling down and kiss the ground, it was, I think of after that, it says, did I kiss the ground? You know, and then why did you do that? It says, I don't know. It just happened, you know, because I waited for that long, you know, to achieve this goal.
2005, you're now in the West Indies. Ray Jennings is your coach. The first test match is in Guyana. We just get a draw. You don't get a wicket. Ray Jennings clobbers you, threatens to send you back home. Your reaction?
Doug, it was one of the things that I couldn't put it together. The first part of it, you know, we only picked up 3 wickets in that test match. And then it's 11 of us taking the field, and then why it has to be me who've been sending home? And then when I asked that question, he says, you're not good enough. You're not taking wickets, so you need to be sent home. And then myself and Gulam, we were shocked, because he just decided he's going to call myself and Gulam aside and says, Gulam, organize a flight back home for this guy to go home, because he's not good enough to be in my team. And then I waited, and then I left them there. And then I left and I went to the changing room, pack my bags, thinking that when we leave here, I'll be taking left and then the rest of the team going.
It's part of his strategy to motivate you.
But at that time, nobody knew that.
But you get to Trinidad for the second test, but you get the last laugh. You get 13 wickets for 132 runs.
Yes.
That remains the best bowling performance by any South African cricketer in a test match.
Wow. You see, when what happened is, even before that, the first day of the test match, we go earlier. So everyone, those they want to go and hit some balls, they will leave the changing room and go to the nets, and then they all come back to the changing room to drop their kit. And then I'm sitting there cleaning my shoes just before the warm-up. And then Graham Smith walks in, and then he started shouting at me, Mac, why are you here? Everybody is starting to warm up. And I said, no, you guys went to the nets. I thought you were going to come back to the changing room so then we can walk together. Man, as I ran out of the changing room, and then I could see Ray coming towards me. Just before I passed the rope, you know, to get to the ground, man, he let go. He couldn't stop. So the moment we get to the where the team is, and then he says, no, you're not going to go for warm-up. I need you to come with me. He picked up his small bat. He put me against the fence and says, he had the theory of, you know, he asking us to catch one-handed. So he says, I want one hand in your back of your, one-handed behind you, and then you're going to catch in one-handed. And then he belted everything. I just stood there. So the ball was hitting my hands and my shins, every part of my body. Just before them, my hands were already numb. I couldn't even catch a ball. I couldn't even hold a cricket ball because it was just sore. And then we lose the toss. We bowl first. And then I pick up the first 7 wickets.
In the air, and the keeper is going to take the catch. Gale goes. West Indies lose their first wicket at 7.
This is in the air as well. Nell is under it, and he takes the catch. Sawan's gone.
Back to the changing room. Everybody high five the rest of the crew. Get to Jennings, doesn't give me a high five. He walks away. and then I didn't say a thing. I look at Vincent, Mr. Barnes, and then he just shake his head. And I said, "What's going on here?" Fair enough. while we're sitting there, and then we batted, and then we put a score on the board. Now it's us now to go and bowl our second innings. He comes past where I'm sitting. He kicks my bags. He kicks my shoes, and then he says, I cannot even walk here. Your bag is on my way. And I said to him, Chet, my bag has been here since we got here. And then all of a sudden, just before I go and bowl again, you come past my bag and kicking my shoes. What's going on here? That one, I look at Vincent again, because he's the only person that he can talk to him, because as where we come from, Doug, we respect the adults. We respect someone who's running the show. The head coach, assistant, to go all into that. Now, coming back for our second innings, pick up the 6th wicket.
Caught behind, way outside the off stump. Bravo goes for it, edges it, and the new ball has struck very early on. The West Indies have lost their 6th wicket for 180, and 10 wickets in the test match for Makhaya Ntini.
Got him! Brilliant! Absolutely brilliant. Makhaya Ntini has been nothing short of sensational in this game and again this morning. Makhaya Ntini is going to remember this for a long, long time. 13 wickets for the match.
And then we walked in the changing room. Still the same thing. He doesn't say a word. But, go along with that and then pick up the 13 wickets in the test match. Go along with that, and then I keep on asking him, what did I do to you? What are you trying to do?
But Makhaya, maybe strategy worked, that he pushed you and pushed you to get that 13 wickets.
Wow.
I know Ray Jennings well. He's very good, and
he's a hard man.
He's a hard man, but I'm sure he wanted you to get that South African record.
We understood that.
It's now 2006, Australia in South Africa, the second ODI. You get 6 wickets for 22 runs.
That was Cape Town.
Definitely.
Wow. I remember, Doug, when Bacher was the wicket keeper. We played I think the wicket was seaming very well, and then we batted first on that one, and then as we going to bowl, and then Gilchrist, we all say that he missed it, but first ball he comes in, he just tried to fetch one, and then he got caught behind. And then he started tumbling. And then Mark Bacher, as I got my 4th wicket, he comes in and says, you know that you can hold a record. And if you get 6 wickets here, you'll be a record holder for South Africa, to take 6 wickets. Then he motivates me again. And I start running in, giving nothing away. And then I pick up the fifer. And I said, you need one more to hold the record. And then is that Bickle? Yeah, the batsman that comes in again. It's just we always say the tailenders and all. And then I was given that last over to come in and bowl.
Wait, there it is. That's all 6. That's 6. That's 6. Done and dusted. And man of the match. The best figures ever for a South African bowler in one-day internationals.
That one as well, caught behind. Yes, Doc. It was an amazing. I used to have one of those almost like Imran Tahir runs away and let everybody chase you. It was unbelievable achievement, especially when it comes with a team like Australia. And we bowled them out as cheap as that.
The 5th ODI, the Wanderers Stadium, the 15th of March 2006. It's a Sunday.
Yes.
I'm on a plane back from Melbourne to Johannesburg. I've been speaking at the Commonwealth Games. I'm sitting next to an Australian. Halfway through the flight, the pilot makes an announcement. The latest score from the Wanderers Stadium, Australia are all out for 434.
Oh, my word.
I turned to my Australian mate and I said, listen, your pilot has a good sense of humour. So back to the Wanderers. It's the last over. You 4-3-3 for 9. Andrew Hall is out on the 3rd last ball of the last over.
Well, the big thing here is that Bacher hasn't got on strike. Number 11, Makhaya Ntini, he's got to face the music. 2 from 3.
Mark Bacher tells me he meets you halfway. He says he looks at you, and if it's possible, you've gone white, you say. Can you recall what he said to you?
I remember all of that, Doc. You know, as he mentioned that, he really came to me because all of Australia and I got together. They just got a wicket. Walking down, and then you can hear the crowd hitting the Wanderers advertisement boards. Bacher comes to me and then he says to me, there are 2 things that he's going to try to do to you. He's going to bowl a bouncer or he's going to bowl you a yorker. And those things, you've gone through them, you know, for the rest of your career. And then I says, yes, if you bowl a bouncer, don't turn, just run. I'll be right there. Luckily, I didn't bowl either of those. He bowled, that's it, nicely good ball, and I turned it down, and then I ran.
Oh, he's got a single. He's got it to third man. Right, now then. They need 1 of 2 balls. South Africa cannot lose. They have tied the match right here. Now it's a question of winning it.
When I ran, I didn't even want to come back. I just continue running, knowing that he's on the other side. He has to finish it. That's what he said as well. I said, if he will run, no running at 2.
All he needs is a single here. They don't want to run out. Straight down the ground. What a victory. That is a sensational game of cricket. And it is a superb victory. Well, I've been around the world watching this game. Look, their tears. They are crying out there. The South Africans are charging out onto the ground. Gilchrist shakes hands with Bacher. Ntini's on a high.
It was a night for us to remember, even till today. I remember at 12 o'clock midnight, we were still at the ground celebrating. We all walked down, you know, and then we lied on the wicket, and we looked up and says, did we ever thought this game would be us? Because what we heard that during the break time, Australians were already popping bottles, saying that this game is theirs. But one thing that I want to say, Doc, I remember when we walked in after we finished bowling, Joe Callis walked in and sat down and says they are 20 runs short. Because it was just silent. And then he says, you know, guys, they are 20 runs short. And then, what do you mean? We've just been bolted, you know, a bullet in our own backyard, and you telling me that, you know, they are 20 runs short. And then we laughed about that, and then I think that's what broke the ice. And then the Buddha Dibena was opening.
Chopped it on. Lost a wicket early. Nathan Bracken did the business in Durban, and he started by getting Dippenaar today.
Out, and then everyone looked at each other and says, wow, is this going to happen? Gibbs and Graham Smith started, you know, hitting the ball all over the park.
There it is. Just 116 ODI hundreds for Herschel Gibbs, but his job's not over yet.
It's far from over, but for now, they're going to celebrate with him.
Polo comes to me, and then he says to me, what if you have to go and hit the last run? I looked at him and says, you must know that if I have to go and bet and I need to hit the last run, we were close to win the game. It was so funny, Doc. You know, when we think about those things now, you know, we're actually laughing about them.
It's 2008, IPL, you know, playing for the Chennai Super Kings. You get a hat-trick.
Yes.
But it's an extraordinary hat-trick. Your first victim,
Ganguly,
it hits the middle stump.
Yes.
The second one, the leg stump. And the third one, the
off
off stump.
They're all coming back. You know, when you get that opportunity, because what happened within the World Cup, the IPL, even if you take a forfeit a game before, you might not play in a second game. I remember we played that game in Calcutta. Yes, and then I was given, you know, an opportunity to play, you know, picking up the hat trick it was one of those things. Even the helmet that I've worn there is at my house. Because the Cardinals had those gold helmets that the crowd played, are actually worried to support their teams. It was unbelievable as well, to be able to prove that you can play the 2020 as well, getting a hat trick, in a game like that where the best of the best are playing.
Makhaya, I've read that you had two heroes, fast bowlers. One, Malcolm Marshall, I can understand. Brian McMillan. Why Brian?
Doc, I think, Brian McMillan, he came, across to me as one of those, the great all-rounders when it comes to cricket. I remember our first time myself and Haywood, he sat us down and he says, if you want to be a best cricketer, don't look at anyone else. You must always be the last one to leave the practice. He will wait until we finish bowling, and then he says, now it's my turn to bat. You guys must come back and bowl to me. So I've learned that, from his side point of view, and says, this guy is not only looking for himself, he's looking up to us as well as the youngsters that we could, play for South Africa one day. And then I watch Brian as I'm playing as well with it while I'm part of the team or being a 12th man, seeing him, the way that he carries himself as he attacks the wickets.
And Ian Botham is on his way. That middle stump has been shattered again.
So he became my hero. And then having a hero that is next to you. So if I have a problem, I'll go to him and says, what do you think? What should I do? And then he will come and say, okay, this is the situation. This is what you need to do. So I've learned so much, about cricket through him.
You played a lot of test matches with Lance Clues now.
Oh, yeah.
He spoke fluent Zulu.
Yes.
You spoke fluent Xhosa. Tell me, on the field, did you confuse the batsmen by speaking these languages?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, Doc. I think for me, being on the third man, or probably is on fine leg or square leg, it doesn't matter. But we will communicate, between each other, even though we are across the field. And then I remember John D. Rhodes will be the one person that get bored. He said, you guys, you don't know what you're talking about. I says, no, if you want to learn the language, so you must understand us. So it was the funniest things, and then we will laugh, even though there's nothing to laugh about it, because we're enjoying each other's, communication across the field. So it became, the thing that, we always, talk. Doesn't matter if the team is winning. We never had a dull moment, when he's on the field as well.
The best coach you had playing for South Africa, and why?
Bold Bowman. I think why I say Bold Bowman. Bold Bowman has never had two sides. When I'll say this thing, I remember when we played my first ODI in Australia. He called me aside, him and Nancy, they sat me down and says, we can see that you have a potential to play for South Africa. But we were just trying to find if you are a suitable candidate for any given moment we can just call upon you. Since then, I played in so many coaches after him, but there was none of them that they could be able to man enough and sit you down and say the situation is A, B, C, D, so please understand. And then we all knew that in that first game, because I picked up 3 wickets, and then I was not going to play for the rest of the series.
Gone! Yes, got 2 wickets, good catch. Young wicketkeeper hanging on to this man's been impressive.
But because of him sitting me down, he made me realize that I need to wait for my cue. When my turn comes in, then I will take that opportunity. When he says we were just trying you, it made so much differ. Even if though there was so much of a hoo-ha back in South Africa, that made him as one of those coaches that I think, you can trust him. It doesn't matter where you are in the world.
The best captain you played under, and why?
I'll put 2 of them. Is that possible? Can I do that? Hansi was one of them. A reason why I said that, Hansi, I remember I bowled to Tendulkar and then I bowled a maiden. He came running across and says, there is no bowler in my cricket career could bowl a maiden to Sachin Tendulkar. That on its own, he put a thumbs up, on my career, and then having him being able to say that as a captain of the team, and then that on its own, it made me realize as well that I could be powerful to go further down. My cricket is not just for the sake of being here and play. There are people that they actually admire what you do. Sean Pollock is my second one. I bowled with him. I've learned from him, the length of what kind of a length we should be bowling in all different wickets that we play. I remember this one as a captain. He says to me, Makhaya, Justin Langer is playing his 100. And then what are you going to do? And then I look at him and says, what do you want me to do? And I says, I want to hit him. And then he turns around and he says, where my man? And he started running away. First ball hit Justin Langer right at the back of his head.
He's hit him. Makhaya Ntini's hit Justin Langer. Ball one, and it was a heck of a blow. Bang, right on the helmet.
And then we saw Justin Langer just, going down, and then he looks at me and says, Makhaya, I didn't ask you to kill him. And then he was taken to the hospital and he never come back. Those were two, captains that I played against them.
You opened the bowling with Sean in 63 tests.
Yes.
You got 255 test wickets. He got 235 test wickets.
That's neck and neck.
He bowled close to the stumps. You bowled wide of the stumps.
Yes.
Why did you bowl wide of the stumps, and how did it start?
At Dell, there's a concrete where we're landing. And then I didn't have, techie, so I had to find a way, to land because I'm using the stats. So that's when all of that started, bowling wide of the crease, because I got used to practice, just next to the concrete.
Great wicket-keeper, bowler combinations in the history of Test cricket. Firstly, Rod Marsh and the great Dennis Lillee.
It's a beautiful take. What a marvellous take. That's a great combination from the pair who've done so wonderfully well for Australia over the years. Lillee to Marsh. One of the best combinations we've ever had in this country.
They got the most dismissals in Test matches.
Mm-hmm.
You are number 3
with Mark Boucher.
Mark Boucher.
Yes.
Got him. Almost off the face of the bat, I think. Short ball. Mark Boucher has taken the catch. Makhaya Ntini is on fire this morning.
Oh my word, what a delivery. And Ntini's convinced he's gone.
Yes, and that's it. He's done it again down the leg side. No thoughts from Russell Tiffin. He's not required. Kumar Sangakkara has decided to walk.
Secondly, the most dismissals in ODI cricket. Do you know that you and Mark Boucher are number 1, 75 dismissals?
Wow. Gone! It was almost as if you could see it happening. Good bowling from Ntini, and no respect for that delivery. It was a good delivery, no respect for it.
Who else? Adam Gilchrist?
Number 2 with Glenn McGrath.
It will be out. That's a pretty good take by Adam Gilchrist. He had a lot to do. McGrath looks around sheepishly at Steve Buckner as if to say, how was that for height? Because remember, if that full toss had been above waist height, it would have been called a no ball, but it wasn't. Huge smiles on the faces of the Australians.
That's history there, Doc.
In the record books, and I think both you and Mark can be very proud of that achievement.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that, Doc, that we hold in that.
Makhaya, your son Tondo.
Yes.
This year he played for the South African under-19 team. What's his future? Can he emulate you or come close to your achievements?
Doc, it's a heavy question to ask to the father. And then I believe that as a father who had a child that is playing the same sport that you're playing. And then I know that I'm the lucky one because most of of the children that I know that their father, they were either a boxer or athletic. They are not doing what their father's doing. And then it gives me a lot of worry at the same time, because I could see Tando, he wants to be a cricketer. He wants to play for South Africa one day. He has started now playing for the under-19s for South Africa, and then now his dream as well is to wear the green and gold. And then I always say to him, I says, my son is going to be the hard journey that you're going to take. And then everyone is praising him. That what, you know, makes me feel not so certain, but proud at the same time. And I always say to him that the journey of a sports person, nobody knows about it, because the injury can come in any given time, and then you lose the hope, and then you can't even go back and play cricket. Take your step very, very slowly. Don't rush into things because you have something to prove. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You're not Makhaya Ntini, you are Tando Ntini, which is you need to open your own path instead of following what your father has done, because that will be a difficult part to chase that. And then we agreed on that. Even from the family point of view, we sat down with him and says, you need to walk your own journey, not your father's journey. My one is finished. Your one is just began. My, you know, things that I need to do to you is to support you to anything that you need, is to make sure that I'm there every single moment, you know, to support you. No matter where you play, the first person you're gonna see when you put your head up is myself and your sister and your mother. We'll be there for you all the time. You must go and do whatever that you wish for. Cricket, it's your number one choice. Yes, we would love to see you playing for South Africa one day.
Makhaya, let me say this to you in conclusion. I spent the morning with you at the village where you grew up. What you have achieved, taking cognizance of those early days where you were brought up, to me, and I'm sure to everyone in this country, your achievements are the most extraordinary, the most exceptional, the most brilliant ever achieved by any South African Test cricketer. This country salutes you, Makhaya Ntini.
Thank you very much, Doc. It started with you, Doc. Thank you.